Looking to maximize your hits at the start or during a ranked war, chain, or mission task, or even happy jumping, but can't use an overdose right now? For the cost of just one Xanax, you can insure yourself for a reimbursement of your lost energy. Send Securop and Xanax and consume a Xanax within 2 hours. If you overdose, you will receive 2 FHC worth 300 energy and booster cooldown, or 30 million in Torn City dollars. Follow the required steps on his thread, found by looking for Securop Overdose Insurance on the forums. Compensations of up to 6 FHC worth 90 mil available right now. His ID is 2247082.
Tired of the same old value manufacturing? The platinum rated NNGO has exactly what you need, and you won't regret it like you do buying Symbiotic. Boasting the best competitive ranked warring and juicy payouts, spicy development and growth, and a wholesome community to make you feel like part of the family. If interested, speak with Fordo at 219-9085 today. NNGO, we're finger licking good.
La-ti-ti-ta-ti-ti-ta. All right, that was my warm-up. Welcome to episode 5. I got the Felon here, and we're going to give you some tips and tricks to stay safe out there in this dangerous city, because there's lots of things that are trying to take your money, and that's what you want. You want your money.
Sir, keep it.
Yes, keep it. And don't do these things that we're going to tell you, or watch out for them, if you would.
Yes, yeah. So the first one, I guess not for brand new players because they probably don't have bazaars, but something to look out for when you have that, or a trader, or getting into trading and you're selling stuff on your bazaar, is setting prices incorrectly. It can be a massive thing that can take away pretty much all of your profits that you made. I've actually done this quite a few times, and it's super embarrassing. Not to the extent of what we just saw in the forums that Ara can get into, but I was browsing the item market and I saw that there was a trader selling a ton of Xanax at, like, I don't know, I can't remember the price, but let's just say it was 840,000, and there were a ton of them. So that was going to be the floor for pricing. And I kept seeing people listing stuff for, like, $500, $600 less just to get them sold. So I would buy them up real quick, and then immediately list them on my bazaar for like $100 under that target price, and just flip Xanax. And it was moving small quantities where I wasn't even like hospitalizing myself. Like, while I was doing it, it was people were buying a few here, a few there, and it was just quick money. And until I realized that, I was like, wow, how did I lose so much money? And it's because instead of selling them for 39,800 a piece, I was selling them for $83,930 a piece. And, they went quickly, of course. But I mean, that's, a tenth of what, so I'm buying them for 39,000 and I'm selling them for 83,000. And yeah, that puts a damper in the flipping aspect of the game, because, you found these quick deals, you're making money. I'd be up like $1 million, $2 million in a few minutes, and then bang, gone. Just everything gone because you miss a zero. It's terrible.
Hey, I know you're trying to advertise your cheap Xanax for 83,000 a piece, but this is an ad slot moment right here.
Sorry, so. I'll send the money.
Okay. All right. There's a time and place for the ads.
Yeah. Oh man, it's the worst feeling when you notice it too, because it's a lot of money, because most of the time that you have wrong pricing, it's not like you did it for like $1,000 or $2,000 difference. You usually miss a number, and it's usually that zero at the end. And Yeah, it's huge. I mean, we just saw it on the forums, right?
Yeah, so Devil, that's a D3VL. He was selling armor packs. He's the leader of a faction, and so they did ranked warring, and his faction won a bunch of armor packs, and so he meant to put them up on the bazaar for 900 million, but he accidentally put them up for 90 million. So Spliffy noticed that very quickly, and he tried to. Well, you know what? I have a quote from him. Why don't I just give this quote now? This will explain it. So recently, I bought 4 armor caches for 90 mil each from Devil's Bazaar, in parentheses, via proxy because I am blacklisted, parentheses. Obviously, that was a great deal, but the fact of who it was made it even better. In the past, I've lost small sums of money by mistyping prices on a Bazaar listing. Getting a couple of numbers the wrong way round cost me 30 million on the sale of some DVDs, and I lost 3 mil each on a couple of donor packs by getting a 3 and a 0 the wrong way around. But not quite as bad as losing the best part of 3.5 billion for just missing a 0 off. It's nowhere near the worst trade deal of all time, though, after witnessing 2 dirty bombs sell for 1/1000th of their intended listing price, 35 million and 40 million. So make sure to double and triple check those numbers before you press that confirm button, because it won't take long for an eagle-eyed player to snap up your unintentional bargain. And yeah, so people literally lost it happened twice that somebody was trying to sell a dirty bomb and put it up in their bazaar. They meant 35 billion, put it there for 35 million. The other person put it up, wanted to put it up for 40 billion, put it up for 40 million. And they were both bought, and they lost all that.
That's so the armor cash is huge. That's 900 million to 90. You're losing a big amount of money. The only thing I guess you can say is, while the faction did invest money to get that win, Xanax and boosters and all that, it is expensive, but to lose out on the money that you made for putting in 100 cesium and building the dirty bomb and going from 40 billion to 40 million. Oh my God.
I'd quit. I think I'd quit. I don't think I can handle that.
That would be grounds for that. I mean, good for the players though, if you find that.
Oh yeah.
Talk about finding a treasure.
I would have given it back, and nobody that does it does. It's not scamming. If you just let's make that clear. It's not scamming if you put up your item for the wrong price and someone buys it. You put it up for that price. It's not scamming at all. Because
if that first person didn't buy it, somebody else will. It's not like everyone's gonna look at that listing of a dirty bomb for. I know it's a mistake. I know I'm not gonna buy it. No, somebody is going to hop on that.
So you might as well be the one to hop on it.
Oh, 100%. Yes. So yes, if you are, no matter how you list stuff in your bazaar, I know I use the auto bazaar pricing stuff sometimes too. Whether you're using that or typing in manually, just the big items, just double check and make sure they make sense. Because you don't want to, he sold 4 of them, right? So now he should have sold it for 3.6 billion. And he sold it for 360 million. That's tough.
Yeah, that's a rough one right there. It's not grounds for quitting, especially with his net worth, but
no,
it's definitely that hurts. There's no way that doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I wonder if he got. Do you know if Spliffy did he open them?
I'm assuming he just sold them for the correct price.
So I was gonna say, I would love to know what he got out of them. Yeah, be the best 360 million
all EOD.
That would be insane.
I'd be really jealous at that point.
Yeah. No, man. It'd be like, hey, Devil. Not only did I buy him for 90 million a piece, but I also got a full set out of all 4 of them. So, thanks.
Brutal. brutal.
Yeah. Yeah. So definitely watch out for that. We can actually keep going with the bizarre topic.
That's true.
And let's talk about on the flip side, not being a seller, but being a buyer. So, you'll be browsing the item market for, whatever you're looking for item wise. But there's going to be people that try and list items, and then when you click on their bazaar, their bazaar is set up a certain way to make you think that the item you're searching for is first, but it's a different item. It just looks fairly similar. Now, the game has tried to fix this. I know Torn has updated like pictures. The biggest one was donator packs and boxes of grenades. Back maybe a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years now, they looked like very similar, and it was super easy to get mixed up on them. I'm sure everybody knows the player Ice Cold Cola. He is like famous for this, that he has in his bazaar donator packs and boxes of grenades for the exact same price. And with the new update, they do look a little bit different. But if you're just trying to get a quick donator pack because your donator pack, time just ran out and that's how you fund it, like it can be a quick mistake. But again, that's one of those things where a grenade pack is what, like $1 million, I think, and a donator pack is 22.5. So it's something that you can easily mistake the value of and buy the wrong thing. So I know that's a huge one that a lot of people get caught up in. You'll definitely see forum posts about it, but you just be careful. Like, take it slow. I know we're all trying to get that deal, and if you see it, like, oh, I got to act quickly to get it, but no, just take a second, make sure you're buying the right item, and just take your time. You'll avoid making stupid mistakes like that.
Oh, and let's just give Ice Cold Cola's ID just in case they end up changing the name. So I have them added to my enemies list because they're clearly trying to scam people. So like if someone's like a big scammer like that, I just have them on my enemies list. 1822744. Can't hide from that.
Called out by Torn Underground. Get with it.
Like even if we helped one person not get scammed a bunch of money, it was worth it.
Yep. And you can come off of our enemies list for the small fee of $5 billion. Thank you, JFK, for that idea.
Yep. $5 billion. I like it.
Anything to do with our show now that you need is now $5 billion. Go straight JFK pricing, $5 billion for everything.
Except for the ad spots. I think that's a little too big of an ask. But like special things, fine. $5 billion.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. Unedited episodes with special guests, $5 billion. All yours.
Are there other bizarre while we're at it? Oh, yeah, buy mugging. Of course there is.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
So one thing you want to be mindful of too here, when utilizing a bazaar for trading and making money and selling stuff, is you can't just put up a bunch of you can't just put up 500 FHCs into your bazaar at the correct pricing, or even if they were a little bit higher, just a little bit higher, and not have them all bought from you by somebody with a lot of money and then mugs you for a crap ton of money. Because it's going to happen. If you, unless you literally, like, even if you're a massive in stats, people will still gang up on you to get that mug. So if you're just like Joe Schmo down the street, anything before even top 250 in battle stats, but I would say even because like if I did that, I'd get mugged for sure. I'd get buy mugged right now, and I'm number 89. So you better believe a lot of people are in the position where you're not safe from this. So what people will do is, they will buy stuff from your bazaar and then mug you because they know you have the money on you. There are a lot of ways to stay safe from this, though. What I like to do is use blood bags. You just have to remember, don't get caught up because you want to do this really quickly after, you open, because you have to be not in the hospital to open up your bazaar. So there will be a second there that you technically could get by mugged. But so you got to get in the hospital really quickly. Just make sure your health, if you're using a blood bag, make sure your health isn't completely full because it won't let you use even the wrong one. Just use an empty blood bag and then use the wrong blood bag and then you'll be in the hospital. So just like use the empty blood bag before you open your bazaar. That way there's one less step in order to get into the hospital because you never know. I mean, especially if you're putting in 20 billion plus in items, you could get mugged for over 2 billion then. And that's nothing that you want to happen. I'm pretty good at not getting caught with this. I did get hit once for it, I think, on this account for 38 million. But I've gotten good at not letting that happen because another thing that I'll do is when you come out of the hospital after now you sold a bunch from your bazaar and you have a lot of money on you. I'll make it because you can make a ghost trade with somebody while in the hospital and you can put all the money in there. That way, when you actually come out of the hospital, you have no money on you and you can quickly just turn off your bazaar. And then they're not going to know exactly when you're going to take that money out of the ghost trade and put it in either a vault, your faction, or your company. They don't know when you're going to do that. It's so you've got a pretty good shot of getting it in very quickly without being attacked.
Yeah, it's that's actually a really good point. So trading, obviously, you can do from the hospital. A lot of traders advertise they can do it from the hospital. So you can start a trade with anybody. Ghost trade, you basically start it with somebody you trust. Not that it's going to be accepted, but you put in the money, you don't accept it, it just sits there. So when you come out, you can cancel it anytime, put it in. Because while you are in the hospital, you cannot access your property vault or the faction vault. So the money just kind of sits there unless you can hide it in a trade. So definitely very useful if you're selling a lot and you need to come out of the hospital but don't want the money sitting on you. And then just be mindful, obviously, that those trades last a maximum of 6 hours. So if it's not a permanent solution, so make sure you're still going to be around. Where you have enough time to cancel and either restart a trade or put it where it needs to be before it expires. So, very, very good point. And I don't know if you've ever seen this. Still talking about Bazaar, but it's so instead of somebody buying stuff from you and mugging you, so I was buying stuff from a Bazaar. The guy was not in the hospital, and I was probably doing plushies at the time, trying to make sets, and I bought a bunch, and the guy whose bazaar it was, who I bought it from, mugged me. And I was like, interesting. Something you don't really think about, because chances are, if I'm going to go buy something, I don't have the exact amount, and you usually have more because you're shopping. So when somebody would buy something from his bazaar, he would just mug them in hopes that they still had more money that they were buying stuff. So something else to be aware of. If you're going out looking to buy sets of plushies, so when I did it, I would take out like 10 million at a time and try and maximize it very quickly to get it all out of hand. But don't just don't pull like a Shaz and just, I'm going to go shopping with 2 billion on hand and see what deals I can find. Be smart with money and don't hold it all in hand, because if you're shopping and you're actively buying stuff, especially if you're buying multiple things from the same bazaar, that person's obviously going to know that you have money on hand. So just another thing to be cautious of when, not even when you're selling, but when you're buying stuff, people are watching.
Yeah, you have to be careful on every side of the coin here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Always looking to take your money somehow.
Oh, and actually, I do remember now, I went because I woke up not remembering to do anything with my ghost trade money. So I woke up one day with 2 billion on hand. Oof. I was like, huh? I didn't get mugged. I was so happy.
And also, make sure you do a ghost trade with somebody that you trust somewhat, because I'm pretty sure the person on the other end can cancel the trade, correct?
Yeah, they can cancel it and mug you. So you got to do it with someone you trust.
Yeah, make sure it's somebody, don't do it to an enemy and flaunt, hi, you can't touch this money, because they can cancel it and it goes right back to on hand. So make sure it's somebody that you trust, for sure.
Yeah, like if you open a ghost trade with me, I will definitely not cancel it if I don't
There
know
you
you. I will definitely not. Wink, wink.
go. See, Ara was smart and started one with me because if I did it, what the hell am I going to hit him with a pillow and do nothing? So, you know, it wasn't really anything. It wasn't really any threat in it.
Well, that's another. That actually kind of leads to another point though, because a lot of what people will do is they will, if somebody that has small stats notices somebody with big stats has like a really good buy mug you could do on them, and they're open to it. You can find someone with big stats, and they'll usually do the buy mug and then split some of it with
Yep,
you. So
that's true.
you gotta be careful because people know big people.
Hmm. There's a lot of people for hire in the attacking forum that will mug people for you. So
Yes.
very,
So
very true.
now we could try to go into the trading one, um, which was I feel like you could explain this better than me. The written where they write it in as if it was
Yeah,
added.
so yeah, there's a couple different ones that I've actually seen and heard about. And again, this all goes back to just taking your time and making sure you're looking thoroughly. Trades can be a little tricky to cipher through. So Tor's done a nice job again with updates. Back in the day, you added whatever you wanted to the trade and it just listed it on there. So one of the things that people would do is like if you were like, hey, I'm going to sell you this dirty bomb, right? Somebody could theoretically start a 0-star company, label it dirty bomb, and they would add that company to a trade and it would say dirty bomb was added to the trade. So you think you're buying a dirty bomb, yet it's a 0-star company worth absolutely nothing. Um, and like that has happened way in the past. It's changed because now everything's color coded, so you can see if it's like a company that they've listed. It used to be stocks that had a color, items, cash, stuff like that has colors associated with it now. So it's a little bit harder to do that now, but definitely be aware that there is that happening. But the same thing. So if you, what Ara was just talking about is anytime you add something to a trade, it comes up, I think, in green, like the actual changes in the trade. Whether like you added something to the trade, it'll come up in green. If you remove something from the trade, it'll come up in red. So you can kind of see what's added. But there's also that comment section that you can type in stuff. So what people will do is type in, like I would type in the felon added one dirty bomb to the trade. And then what they would do is be like, hey, I added it, just add the money and accept it when you're ready. And then you would be like, well, I don't see the item in there. And it's like, well, just look at the item log. It must be glitching because it says that I added the item in there. Then you go ahead and add, $40 billion to it. You accept the trade and you get nothing because there was nothing in there. And all I did was type in the event that something was added. So now it can be easy to figure out though, because comments come up in like just regular black text, and it's kind of a little bit separate. So it's easy to tell the difference if you're just looking for it. If you're just trying to go quick on a trade, it can be easy to miss, but it's something that you want to be aware of because just because it says it down there, if you don't see it in the trade, like don't believe what you see in text because it can be manipulated. Make sure you see it in the trade. And like it's cool that like there's a lot of external tools like Yada and like Torn Trader and there's a bunch of different stuff that when like you're looking at your trade, it'll give you the monetary value for both sides of the trade. That's good because that's obviously going to return whatever items are in there, and if it doesn't see any, it's going to return a zero. So it can help with that. But yeah, that's a good one, Ara, that a lot of people used to do back in the day. Like everything's harder now, even though scamming is legal. The game tries to limit the ways it can happen, but yeah, that was definitely a big one that could be easily misused.
And now there's cancel trading. I said that like it just started. No, it's been a thing. So I actually have a little bit of a funny story about this. So like I'm a pretty like this is kind of funny after opening the whole show as saying how I RMT'd and cheated big time. Besides that whole thing, I am a pretty clean player. Like I don't really do any like scamming, um, as in like I do no scamming, or like dirty tactics. Like I don't really buy mug. Like maybe if I actually like caught the perfect time to, I would say like buy mug. But like I never go actively looking for it, and I don't think I've ever really even had like any decent buy mug. Um, and so I think it was JFA 2.0. It was either that or Natural Selection 2. I hope it was JFA 2.0, so it was even longer ago, but I'm not totally sure on it. Anyway, so I thought, because like as I said, I'm basically innocent, so like I never even really thought of cancel mugging. I never like no one ever did it to me, and I am always in the hospital for trades anyway, so like it doesn't even matter. Um, so I guess I thought I was being super smart when I posted in my faction chat. I was like, huh, like I posted like the mug and then said like, huh, I got a cancel mug on them, and then JFA or Natural Selection were like, that's against our, like you can't do that. You got to give them their money back. We don't allow people in the faction to do cancel mugging. So I was like, oh, I'm an idiot. So I gave the person their money back. I was just like, yeah, sorry. Here's your money. Apparently, I'm not allowed to do that.
That's hilarious. I mean, I guess, you don't want negative attention brought on the faction, so, I mean.
I get how that's really dirty.
Yeah. Oh, no, so it's like cancel mugging is definitely, it's dirty because like buy mugging is one of those things where it's like you need to play safe like when you're selling like your stuff. So like I get that, but trade mugging, like you're actively seeking out a trade to do and and cancel it on them. So yeah, that's definitely but like that's how people make their money sometimes. Like there are people I'm sure who their entire network is built on buy mugging, cancel mugging, and just mugging in general. So it's a legit source of income.
Yeah. There definitely are people that's their livelihood right there. Is being a jackass.
Yeah. Some rich people too.
yeah, they've made a lot of money doing it.
Yeah. So that's tough. Definitely don't want to be on the losing side of and again though, this is why if you're trading, this is why a lot of traders do their stuff from the hospital so that you don't have to worry about this.
Make sure you have your revives off.
Ooh, good point. Yeah.
I think that was actually on my old account that I got caught on that one. I got caught slipping on that, and I did a trade, didn't have my revives off. I was in the hospital. I got self-hospitalized, but so I got revived and mugged.
Yep.
And I felt like an idiot.
Yeah, it revives. And so don't set it to faction and friends because you don't know who's on your friends list that maybe is, you put on your friends list and they don't have the best intentions because they'll be able to revive you and hit you. If you want to be safe, the only way to be safe is to have revives fully off. Really funny story about this. We were in a ranked war and we were coming down to, if we landed like a bonus hit, we were basically going to win the ranked war. And we were coming in within like 5 hits of dropping this, and they're turtling like they're supposed to be, and we can't find a single person coming out of the hospital. So we're checking, like, I have the revivability, so I'm checking everybody in the hospital. I can't revive anybody. We have a lot of our medics looking at it for a hostile revive to revive anybody, and nobody has their revives on until we have one player look through the list, and one player had it on, but not for anybody else because they were on their friends list. And we were able to revive them and drop them. And all because they had it set to faction and friends, and one of their friends happened to be on our reviving team, and we were able to hostile revive and get the bonus. But so if you are trying to be safe, make sure they are set to nobody, absolutely nobody to revive you. That's the only way you can guarantee it.
That is right. Factions will expect that of you.
Yes.
That's
yes.
like pretty much like that person is, I'm not trying to be mean here, but they're kind of a nincompoop for that.
Yeah. Yeah. The amount of messages that we send out with making sure revives are off, like I can only imagine the bigger ones do too. Like make sure your revives are off. Not half off.
No half off, only off.
Yeah, only full off, no half offs.
We don't do halves here.
No. That's funny.
So, all right, that's mostly for like the trading and bizarre kind of things to watch out for. So next we can get into we'll still stay in the scammy realm of things. And so this is actually a recent story, but a faction's company got scammed right off of them. So this is a Grim Nuker who was with the faction for a long time, and he ended up their leader had to take a vacation or something like that, and then so they're looking for someone to take over his mining company for the meantime, and so they went with Grim Nuker, who decided to steal it from them and gamble most of it away anyway. So this is a lot like faction vault scamming, as in it's exactly what faction vault scamming is. Basically,
Yes.
this was the faction's property that he was just supposed to help run, and they're paying him money for it too. He got a cut of the profits, and he chose to steal it from them, which is dirty. And let's make sure we give this guy's ID here so he can never actually run. It's 1078182.
He's actually in another faction though.
Yeah, but it's Raluca's made men, so it's not like really a faction.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it's tough. I mean, we talked about it on like the first episode. When you get labeled as, a vault scammer in a faction, or, even this, like this is the faction's money and everything that they invested into this and they lost, like you're going to get recognized. And actually at the time of this recording right now, let me just open up this tab. He has, I think like 400 bounties on him right now, I think.
400?
Yeah, I want to say he has like 400. He's in the hospital right now, of course, from them. But yeah, I think he has like 400 and something bounties on him right now.
That's a solid amount.
Yeah. So he'll be. I'm sure he'll be in the hospital for the next little bit. But yeah, I mean it's tough. They said he was with the faction for 2 years. He was on the council, and then to throw it all away. Now, luckily, the people they sold it to, they reached out to and like talked to him and said that it was never supposed to happen, and they allowed him to buy it back from them for the sale price, which super cool on them. To let that happen. Obviously tough for the faction because now you just bought this company for the second time because you don't have the money from it being sold. That you have to pay for it. Instead of starting it, and it was started from scratch when the faction started it too. So, you lose all of that, and it's tough. It's that's what this game is about. It's about building friendships and relationships that you think you have. So, you put trust in people, like, people in my faction, like, in back in the day when you could trade stocks and stuff, we bought a faction set of like the education blocks. We had a faction set of the banking block that we would just send to people who were going to start their banking stuff. And, it's, you build that family and trust that you hope nobody betrays, but it's tough. We had a company that we had stolen from my faction as well. My faction leader had one that he gave to somebody and the guy sold it and quit the game. So it's it sucks. You try and build a relationship with people and think that they're trustworthy, but at the end of the day, it's a crime game. You don't know these people. They're behind a keyboard and wherever they live. We're all not from the same area either. It's tough, and it hurts that much more when you think you have that relationship built, and then they turn on you like that.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in positions where I helped another player run a TV station where we so like he owned it, and so I just got I got a cut of the profits, and it's just like I think for me there's always like at the back of my mind there's like the devil right there. It's like you could just have all that money, bro. You could just have
Sell it all,
man. Sell it, buy a C's. Sell it now and buy a C's.
Yep.
But then the rational part of my brain is like, well, that's stupid. I'm not gonna do that. Goodbye, voice.
Like, is that worth ruining your entire game?
No, it's absolutely not. And I guarantee you, if I did that, guess what? I mean, this podcast wouldn't be happening right now. Nobody would respect this podcast. It would even if like this is like because this would have been like 2 years ago, I think. So like even then, like even if it was that far back, like I would not be able to just start a podcast 2 years after that for Torn. No, nobody would respect it.
No, yeah, it gets labeled for the life of that account. So
yeah,
it's
sell
definitely
it now.
I need the money.
Nothing's gonna happen to you.
It's tough. Like I said, you think you build the bond with people, and then to have that, like, it hurts. It's tough.
For real. So now with all like the scammy, dirty stuff out of the way, let's get to some good old fashioned fun stuff. That's also stuff you need to look out for. And mostly for that, I just have gear, like armor and weapons to talk about. So like say let's start with like a simple one here. When you start a fight with somebody and they're wearing a welding mask, don't try to throw a flash grenade at them. It's not going to do anything. You're just going to waste a turn.
Yep.
And
always be aware of what they're wearing and what it counteracts, so you're not wasting your money on stuff like that.
Right. And then so like you also have like there's other things that the welding helmet is immune to, but that's the main one. I mean, because I pretty much encourage you just look at all the different armors that are out on. You could just look at the market and the bazaars and stuff and see all the different armors and just check them out and see what they're immune to. Let's say one of the main things for the hazmat suit is well, of course, radiation, so you could protect against 30 bombs from that. But for like actual fighting, probably its best ability is immunity to tear gas. So like that's really good for dexterity whores. Because tear gas takes away from the dexterity, so they can wear that and they're immune to that. That's the same thing with say like the Delta mask. So if somebody has a Delta mask on, don't throw tear gas at them. It's not going to do anything. And there's these armors that you have to look out for because you don't want to waste a turn. A one turn can make be the difference between life and death for that attack for you.
Yep. Yeah, no, agreed. Just know what debuffs affect certain armors, and even more importantly, what debuffs don't affect certain armors. So you're not wasting 100,000 on a temporary item that is literally just a waste of money and a waste of a turn. So.
Right, like say you open up attack and somebody has full riot armor. If you have a gun, maybe use the gun instead of your melee weapon. And then if the person has full assault gear, so that's decreases incoming damage from ranged weapons, maybe use your melee weapon on them if you got one. So that way you're not playing right into their card, basically.
Yeah. Good point.
Gotta be careful out here.
Danger streets.
Right. So yeah, definitely check into all the different weapons and armors from the new ranked war system because they're really cool, and you really need to know what they do, even if you're not going to own them. That way, when you attack someone with it, you know exactly what big bonus they're getting from it.
Yeah, and cheap plugs. They pay attention to the player spotlight, where we kind of dive a little bit into ranked warring bonuses and whatnot. But yeah, and so the last thing that I've seen it more recently than I used to in the past. But you'll see somebody. It was actually there's a forum post about it. Let me see. Can't remember who it was that brought it up now. Oh, Beast Box about a player named Incendiary, but basically, they'll say this person will message you and say, "Hey, can you help me out with a loan, or can I borrow some money? We're in the same faction. I'm just on my friend's account." So it's very easy for the person to get information. They just look at your faction page. Maybe they'll see that your leader has been offline for 6-7 hours, right? And they'll be like, "Hey, it's me. Insert your leader's name. I'm just playing from a friend's account. Can you loan me, 50 million? And once I log in, I'll transfer it to your vault balance," or something like that. And they'll message. I mean, this person messaged a whole bunch of different people, literally the same line, which theirs was, "Would you be able to help me with a loan for a week time, mate? You have helped me before, so thought I could ask you." So they'll say like, "I used to play under this name," or this person just on a friend's account. So make sure, like, if that happens, like, don't just believe what people are saying. Maybe try and message them, hop on Discord if your faction has a Discord and they're saying it's from there, and tag them, be like, "Hey, are you on is this you're trying to ask me for money?" Because, you want to make sure that if somebody does need a loan, that you're actually able to give them a loan and to the right person. But something I've definitely seen more recently than like way back in early Torn days, but just make sure you know who's messaging you and who you're sending money to. Literally, when you click on somebody's profile to send them money, like the first thing that comes up is like, do not fall for scams. So like, it's out there. Just make sure you know who you're sending money to and who's on the other side of who will be receiving it, because it doesn't seem like a lot. Like, oh, I'm just gonna. For some people, that is a lot of money. For other people, it's not. But, if this person's doing that to 10, 12, 20 people, he just made a nice little sum of money for something that he, is just lying about and getting people to give him money for free. So be aware of it. It's something I've definitely seen a lot more often now.
That's right. I think I hope everybody learned something, even if it was one thing.
Yeah, I went over a bunch of different ways. I mean, the grand scheme of the story is just like, be safe. Like, it's a crime game, so like, it's gonna happen. But like, don't get mad if like under certain circumstances, if somebody trade cancel mugs on you, yeah, it sucks. Like, that's rough. But at the end of the day, there is so many things you can do to protect yourself. Like, if you have your bazaar open and you get buy mugged in hospital, that sucks, but like, lesson learned, man. Don't let that happen to you. Like, if you're just sitting out of hospital with a bunch of stuff on you, like, if you're that bold to think you will not get mugged, you're wrong, and multiple people will prove that you are wrong. So be smart. There are ways to prevent yourself from ever being a target of one of these things. So hopefully somebody learned something that they didn't know, and just keep your money safe. Like, money is what builds a lot in this game, and we don't want to see you lose it. So please, you can use me as a ghost trade. Just put it in the subject so I know who to cancel. I mean, who to not cancel trades with. And we're here to help you, but just please keep your money safe. Be smart.
Yeah. And the best way to keep your money safe is to liquidate all of your money and then start a trade with Ara, and just put all of that money in there and then just go offline.
Yeah.
Go take a nap. Go treat yourself to some dinner. I'll come on eventually.
Yeah. Ara will also help you turn your money into SEs. They will not be your SEs, but they will be turned into SEs.
Yeah. That's what matters, right? It doesn't matter if they're for you or not. This might work.
But,
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm out here trying to grind. We can.
Ara's got an oil rig to pay for. Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, no, seriously. Also, I would like to say that nobody that listened to the podcast joined. So I'm a little disappointed. I couldn't sleep last night from the night terrors over it. I had to mail for all of those employees. So please, I haven't gotten any sleep. So like, if somebody joined saying I am joining because I listened to the podcast, I will finally be able to sleep again. I'm not able to take care of myself. I haven't showered since that episode released. I haven't slept. I haven't eaten. I'm hitting rock bottom here. So just
for just one mind. Job application, you can help save an Ara.
Yes, just one. All right, it's coming off a little too desperate.
you got 1 star though, so you're moving in the right direction. You got it.
That's true. Oh, that actually reminds me is you have to be another thing to be careful about is people trying to poach your employees. So I've got Satan from We Are Rising. It's hard not to say the joke form of that. But anyway, so he's the leader there, and he messaged all of my employees trying to poach them. He was successful with one of them. By the way, his ID is 612696. And so just so you know, poaching is messaging employees of a different company directly and trying to give them a job at your company. It's really it's frowned upon. It's considered dirty. I don't do it. But I would say it's completely fair to try to poach employees from a director that poaches employees. So he is currently running a 28-man oil rig that's failing. It's only made 37 million yesterday, which is less than what my 10-man oil rig made. So I definitely, I think that gives some ammo that if you want to poach some employees, this is the only fair way to do it is to poach from a poacher. So check out his company. It's got 28 people there in a failing company, so they probably wouldn't be too difficult to coax out of there. So yeah, I tried to talk to him about it, but he wouldn't respond back. So whatever, I'll just talk about it on the podcast, I guess.
Communication is key. Didn't we learn that last episode?
We did learn that communication was key. I mean, maybe we could have come to an agreement instead of just telling everybody that, hey, he's a completely fair target to try to poach employees from.
Yep. Damn, rough, man. Lesson learned.
Yeah. It's whatever, though. But anyway, so now it's time. Before we get into our player spotlight, we'll go into the second round of sponsors of the show. And, of course, we thank them very much. Calling all criminals. Are you burning warehouses or kidnapping women? Well, Destination Unknown wants you. Destination Unknown is an 18 and over crime-focused faction family run by working professionals that understand how life goes. At over 3 million respect, we make maximum use of our perks for crimes and the gym. PA lead makes 30%. Not quite to the PA level? We will get you there. Come join our band of criminals. Message Angry Medic. His ID is 2107304 today. The law firm High Command is currently seeking 2 active employees with a minimum of 5.5K and at least 2 working stats. We are currently 5 stars and are working our way up. Daily pay is based on working stats and effectiveness. Additional trains are handed out every other day, and we do not sell trains. Bonuses are also given to employees when milestones have been reached, which are set by the director. If you are interested, please apply to High Command or feel free to reach out to The Cypher, ID 2204605 with any questions.
You are listening to The Torn Underground with your hosts, Ara and TheFelan.
For our player spotlight for this episode, if you have been spending time in our Discord at all, you would definitely recognize the name, or actually browsing the trading post forum thread. We have Vaguely Canadian here. How you doing today, sir?
How's it going? Doing all right today. How about yourself?
Not too bad. Nice lazy Sunday night. Still getting over COVID 2.0, but we're hanging in there. So
You got COVID 2.0 before Crimes 2.0, eh?
yeah, I'm assuming everybody will have COVID 2.0, 3.0, and maybe 3.5 before we get Crimes out. But unless Oren has anything to do about it.
Yeah, I saw that post. It's interesting for sure.
Yeah.
I need to look back at
All
it.
right, so yeah, I'm interested to see like what's going to become of it, but I know there's a lot of talk. Maybe it'll at least light some fires or something.
Right.
That would be nice.
Yeah, seeing Oren do more in 4 hours than they've done in how long's it been? 7 years?
Oh Jesus! Yeah.
10,000 years.
Yeah. Well, we just restarted
We
just restarted the timer by talking about it, so it'll be another 10,000.
Reset the clock.
You're welcome.
But yeah, so let's start with the obviously the same questions we asked everybody. So, how did you get your name, and how did you find
I'm really
Torn?
curious to this one. As I said, I love this name. It's great. It just makes me laugh.
All right. So if you have ever been to my profile and you hover my name, you'll see I was previously known as R492. And that is a gamer tag that I made up when I was 10. The R comes from my name and the numbers I thought sounded cool after it. So I decided I needed a change. And that happened shortly after I got to Torn. So I reached out to a couple of my friends and I said, hey, I've decided I need a new name. I need something not too long, somewhat memorable, and vaguely Canadian.
So it just became vaguely Canadian.
As soon as I sent it and I looked at the message, I knew I had my name. And so I've just...
Oh my God.
That's
I love that. That's I need it to be vaguely Canadian. Really, just you found it right there. You didn't even really need to ask.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
That's how you want it to work out. Just fit perfectly.
Yeah, right.
I told because my wife is listening to all these episodes, even though she doesn't play Torn. And so she actually told me that, so this is great though, because I love to be able to tell my wife that she's wrong, because I'm usually wrong. So I can tell her that she was wrong now, because she said she thinks your name is from it's like a reference to I think it was like a beer or like some sort of product, like a. So if that doesn't ring a bell at all, then I was right.
Is she referring to Molson Canadian? That's the only beer I know that sounds kind of like it.
You know what? And maybe it didn't even have anything to do with beer, and I'm just making shit up in my head. But she said it was some sort of reference to some sort of product. So,
well, it definitely wasn't bad.
All right, cool.
But,
she'll listen. Yeah, I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna let her hear this when she hears it. I'll get a text.
Yeah. Any and all resemblance to real life products or persons is entirely coincidental.
Disclaimer.
Please don't sue. Yeah.
That would be crazy.
How did you find Torn though? How did you come across this game?
So I had a buddy a couple years ago during Christmas Town of, I think, 2019. We were in a Discord call and he showed me around and, he sounded really excited about it. And I watched the gameplay and I'm like, this looks fucking boring, man. Why do you play this? But then, of course, a year and a half later, scrolling through Facebook of all places and an ad shows up and I'm like, you know what? I'm bored. Let's try this. And I've been hooked ever since. I don't know what it is.
Is there any other time to try Torn for the first time than when you're bored?
Seriously.
It makes sense. Because it looks kind of weird at first and confusing and you don't really know what's going on. But then when you actually have that and kind of understand the game, it's like, oh, it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. You click around a bit, you slowly start to figure out a couple things, and then you're like, okay, this is really easy. Could get boring, but I'll stick around for a couple of days. And then you find a new thing in those couple days, and you're like, I wonder how this works. And you just keep clicking around, and there's so much stuff in this game that I'm constantly still finding new things. And, I'm coming up on 16 months now. And you wouldn't think in a game that's this simple looking on the face of it that there's so much to do. But there's as much to do as you can find, I guess.
Right. What that kind of
way to
makes
put
me
it.
think about is I'm playing The Last of Us Part 1 remake on the PlayStation 5 right now because I just was finally able to get one. And it's an amazing game, incredible game, but like the amount of time I've spent playing Torn versus this game that's now come out for the third time, it's not even in comparison. And obviously they're two totally different games, so it's not really totally a fair comparison. But the point is, like, it's a game. This is a special game because it has that longevity to it. It's pretty much my
Yeah, for
point.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a game that goes as far as you want it in as many directions as you want it to go. And the only endpoint is when you decide that you're done or you've done everything that you've set out to do.
Yeah.
It
That's
can always be more.
yeah, I mean, that's a great way of putting it, though, is like, if you're only focusing on one thing, you'll be done when you're done focusing on it. But if you let your mind kind of wander and your gameplay wander, like, there's so many different branches to dive into that, yeah, you could spend a long time going into each and every part of this game.
Yeah, like I currently trade ranked weapons. Before that, I was a mercenary. Before that, I was a reviver. I've led factions. I've been members. I've been without a faction. I've been in dead factions. That was not fun, but I'm sure a lot of people have ended up in a faction that's just completely dead for at least some part of their career.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
But
So-
yeah.
So, I mean, two of the things that you've gotten into are, a revolve around ranked warring. So, I feel like we talk about it every episode, but I think it's just because it's such a big thing. So, what has your experience been as a fairly newer player, going to mercenary and then now in the ranked weapons trading aspect of it? Like, what's your experience been?
So I love the fact that a new feature has come out after I've joined the game because it means that I've got technically the same amount of experience as everyone else, right? I have done, roughly speaking, as many ranked wars as many Hall of Fame players. And that's kind of cool because in a lot of ways, players like me who have only been around for a year and change, we don't really get to say that about too many things. So I think it was really fun being a mercenary and going around to a few different factions because I guested for ranked wars and just seeing what works and what doesn't first off. Because my first contract that I was with, you could make your hits and all, but the leaders were not particularly pushing for teamwork. So everyone was just making hits for themselves to get a payday and not worrying about anything else. And I didn't win a single match with those guys because they weren't playing to win. They were playing to get paid. So then I moved on to my next faction, who were only about 80,000 respect, but they were Silver 3 when I joined, and they were 6-0 in their rank wars so far. I joined, and they had a couple people who were in the billions of stats. So I guess it was similarly structured to a cash farm, but they also had a strong mid-range group, if you want to call it that. I call it that because I fall into it, of between 1 and 10 million our battle stats. Jesus, I can't find words today.
It happens to me.
And then a couple and then a couple of people at the lower end. So their biggest difference was that even though they were outstatted in all 4 of the wars that I was there with them, they always worked together as a team really well. Everyone knew what part they needed to play. Communication was impeccable, and I warred with them 4 more times, and we won all 4 of those, including the last one against the team that had 10 times our stats, and according to the graphs, you know, those infographics that got posted in the forums,
Right.
Yep.
roughly 50% more activity per day than us through just tactics and that. We didn't even pay for mercenaries or whatever. We bountied ourselves, but most of it was us just staying offline when we needed to, waiting for the other side to go inactive, and then pushing out little chains, 100 chain, 250 chain, 100 chain throughout the night, and you claw back your leads until the other side is like, this isn't fun. We're doing the best that we can, and they're just continually crawling back. So if we have to fight this hard to stay even, well, we may as well just make sure that we're able to queue again next week. And that was the play. We were so heavily outstatted, but we could demoralize the enemy by just being tenacious and going for it. So in those 4 wins, we went from silver 3 to platinum 1 as like a 40-ish member, 80,000 respect faction that just did things really well. And I've got a ton of respect for the people who were there, because they're not just there to do wars either, right? They're building an actual faction with loyalty and stuff. It's not just payouts every time we war, because they'll do chain weeks and take breaks and have just fun with giveaways and stuff. And it's actually from them that I eventually got into ranked weapon trading, because at least 4 of the people there moonlit as traders for ranked weapons, just finding things cheap on the market and then selling them for what they're actually supposed to, like what people will actually pay for them. Because it's not hard to find a deal. You can just really go through the forums, as long as you know roughly what things go for, which just comes with experience and seeing weapons actually get sold. You get a good feel for it. So after I saw some of the deals they were making, and, you know, realizing that I was quickly running through even the money that I was getting from these wars, where we were making almost enough per hit to take FHCs during the war at a profit. It was that good for us that I needed some other way to push for money, because clearly I had a spending habit that I needed to either take control of or feed in a much bigger way. And I'm here to have fun.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, I'm going to take what I've learned, and I'm just going to throw my next ranked war payment at a couple of weapons. I'm going to find something cheap, and I'm going to flip it. And that's going to be that. It's going to be a nice little payday, dip my toe in, and have some fun. So I bought my first batch of weapons. Wait, I only bought 2 weapons at first, and it was actually weapons that I used myself for a bit. Because I figured that if I bought weapons and I made a mistake where they wouldn't sell after, at least I could use them and it wouldn't be wasted money.
Oh, so you got like, weapons that you'd like want, like you liked the bonus of regardless?
Yeah. So I had, if I recall properly, a 17% eviscerate sawed-off shotgun, because I've always loved shotguns, but that's a whole different thing. And 7%, I think, frenzy ninja claws, which I thought at the time were really great weapons, and they were fun. I had some good times with that. But I bought them at like 200 million each, which is not, it's really cheap for what they are.
That's incredibly cheap for that eviscerate.
And I found out that they were cheap.
Eviscerate is extra damage for every other attack after it. So if it's like 17%, it's an automatic proctor. As long as you hit them with the weapon, it proctors, and it's an additional 17%. Oh yeah, sorry, you have to do damage. Sorry, but it's not like a percent chance of it happening. Like once you make damage, it's on there. I think it's like 300 seconds, so like 5 minutes or something.
I believe it's 4 minutes I think it's 240 seconds.
Yeah, and it's so if it's a 17% eviscerate, then every other attack after you land that is 17% increased damage.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So it was a really nice synergy, right? Because you proc the eviscerate, and then you just spam out your ninja claws, and they're just escalating their damage every turn because frenzy gives a bonus to damage and accuracy on every consecutive hit. So if you miss, the damage resets. If you use a different weapon, it resets. But after you've done your eviscerate and maybe thrown a temp, you can just spam the weapons out and just hope to not miss. And that's all it takes.
Right. That's the side of things that ranked war weapons have really opened up. You can really make all these wacky combinations that are really, really awesome and cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. So I listed those 2 weapons, and within a week, they had both sold for almost $1 billion combined. And at that moment, I knew I needed to make this my hustle, because this is clearly where the money is. You can find weapons that are very much undervalued. You can make a deal on that. And then you can turn around and sell them to someone who's going to use them at their full value. What people will actually pay for them without, underselling yourself. So the way I see it, because some people have said that if you do weapons flipping, it's basically scamming or whatever. But the way that I see it, when I buy a weapon that's undervalued, I'm offering guaranteed money that weapon is now not your problem to try to sell anymore. And I take, in turn, a risk. I'm essentially gambling on every weapon that I buy. I'm saying this is the amount of money that I am willing to bet that I can sell this for more than. So, for instance, I recently bought a double tap Desert Eagle, and I believe I paid $225 for it. So, for the person who had the gun, I am saying, if you aren't sure that you can sell this for more, here's $225 million. And for me, I'm saying, in my perspective, I'm saying I am betting $225 million that I can sell this for more than $225 million.
Yeah,
and then
makes
for the
perfect
person who
sense.
buys it, they're hopefully meeting me at my bet. I have taken a loss on like one or two items where I overpaid for it, but yeah,
I
if
know how
someone
that
sees a
goes.
yeah, it's unfortunate. I've got a 26% conserve AK-47, and I paid 175 million for it because my thinking was, man, everyone hates reloading. So wouldn't it be great if you didn't have to reload so much? I've currently got it listed at 75 million because it turns out no.
Oh. I mean, I
It's
don't
the
like
same
reloading.
it's the same thing with specialists, right? No one likes reloading, but no one likes not being able to reload.
Oh yeah, no, that it's like you got to make sure you kill them in that one clip. I mean, obviously you can have other weapons and stuff, but it's like I don't know. I feel like it's putting your too many eggs into one basket with that one.
Yeah, I feel like it would be so much easier if there was an eviscerate weapon for the secondary slot.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes.
But the only things that it comes on are primary slot shotguns and then melee weapons. And I think,
I hate it on the melees because I have a decent DBK and obviously 100% experience on it. So losing my best DBK to put in like I was just using another faction mate's Guando, I think is what it is with Eviscerate, and I'm like I'm missing my DBK stats by
yeah,
not having it. So yeah, I wish it was something that came on a secondary. That'd be
yeah,
huge.
yeah, that's fair. And I think that's why the eviscerate primaries do as well as they do,
Yeah.
is just people want to be able to use whatever melee they have. And you never have to reload a melee, which is the peak reason why you don't want to take that slot up with something that has a good bonus, but you don't feel good about using.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The secondary slot in general is the toughest one for me. I've been trying to find a decent weapon for it, but there's nothing like crazy high like damage accuracy to me that will because the secondary weapon is pretty much you want to find something that's going to give you a good perk and then not touch it for the rest of the fight. It's basically what it is.
Yeah, that's fair. I think the MP9 is probably the best for that slot. And I know I personally am looking for a revitalize weapon for that.
Whew. Yeah.
It's yeah, that's it's not the cheapest thing, but
Nope.
then again, neither is the rest of my loadout.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the pipe dream of tomorrow's me.
I mean, I give you a lot of credit because like we've talked about it obviously on multiple times that like there is just so much that comes to ranked warring and the weapons that have come with it. So you know, I think whoever said that you trading ranked warring weapons is like scamming people isn't. I think they're an absolute idiot because it's not anything like regular trading. That if this is what you're willing to take for it, I will buy it and I will hold on to it and make my money sit while I try and sell it for more. So um, I give you a lot of credit for getting into that because, like, I don't know, like, I see prices out there now, but it's like the amount of different bonuses and what are they worth. And not only is it what the bonus is worth, but it's what are the stats on the weapon? What is that worth? Because you got to factor that in. So there's so much to it. So I give you a lot of credit for getting it.
Well, hey, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's really interesting seeing how different people evaluate things because I talk to a lot of other traders, and of course, I interact with a lot of others who are interested in buying weapons for themselves. And I see all these different strategies that go around for people trying to price their weapons. I personally, I know Eviscerate better than I know other perks. just because I've had so much personal interest in it, especially since it's usually on my favorite type of weapon, the shotgun. But I've loosely settled into a price frame for eviscerates where the base 15% eviscerate on its own, $500 million. For every percent on top of that, add another 100 million until you get into the orange range where it starts going up by slightly bigger amounts. I don't often care about the stats of the gun, but if I had to pick, and if I had to adjust prices based on gun stats, I would focus on accuracy because the damage of the shot where you proc eviscerate doesn't often matter, because any fight that goes long enough where you would end a fight faster by using a eviscerate, you're going to be doing enough damage with your other weapon that you don't particularly care if it's 48 damage or 58 damage or 68 damage on that first shot. That's the way that I've looked at it myself, and I know other people don't think about it that way, and that's perfectly fine.
Well, that's the thing too. Is everyone's going to value the gun as different, like you said, different pricing, and people will try and sell it by telling you like how to make a build around it to make it appear more valuable as well. Like I remember seeing somebody who was posting a gun and it was like, if you have this gun with this mod and this mod with this type of ammo, this is what you could do. So like that kind of brings up the value of it as well. The people who are really trying to push an item for high money, that you could use that tactic as well. But yeah, it's all about how you come across the seller. That's all it is. Your post is, very popular, so I think that helps you a lot as well. A lot of people, like I know I find myself literally just going to your forum post just to check what you have. And I think like having that reputation, like it helps you move weapons because people will just instinctively go to your post because they see you trade a lot, they see you buying and selling a lot of ranked weapons. They'll be like, let me see what he has, because I'm sure his prices are decently fair where he's moving a lot of product. So I definitely think that helps you as well. And you've done obviously a really good job at getting your name out and building it up. So
yeah, that's cool. I never really thought that. Yeah, I suppose people will actually just browse through different posts if they're even passively curious. Never mind actually in the market for weapons.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I look through all the time just to see what's out there. I've never actually taken the jump, like you have, to try and buy one cheap to flip. But it's I'm always looking, but there's like yours is one of the ones I tend to go back and see, what you've come across and what you value things at, because you want to find these people that are big in the weapon trading, because that's what most prices are going to follow. If you list something for a certain price, then there's a good chance that other people will value it the same because somebody bigger is doing it that way. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure for a couple of people have become a standard price for ranked warring weapons.
That's a really cool thought, actually, that I've never really given much consideration to. But I suppose like about a third of the messages that I get anymore aren't people trying to necessarily buy or sell a weapon through me. It's, hey, I just got this new weapon. What do you think it could be worth?
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose, yeah, part of my reputation has gone that way.
Yeah.
And that's actually kind of awesome.
You're welcome.
That'll be $5 billion. We're gonna give you the same price JFK gave Overwatch.
Yeah,
that's all right. I'll pay you guys back over time in ads.
Oh, there you go.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'm actually really happy we did spotlight. It actually went into um, a pretty actually basic understanding of the ranked warring weapon system that we have. So um, this is actually probably be pretty informative for a lot of people. I know honestly it was. So yeah, that was cool. Ari, did you have anything else you wanted to touch on?
I learned a lot myself too. Honestly,
Yeah.
I really do want to learn more about ranked weapons and all that kind of stuff. Because I'm sure there's a lot of bonuses I don't know. Because most of what I know is just by scrolling through the natural selection armory, and obviously they've got a nice selection in there. But they don't
Yeah.
have everything, so
Yeah.
there's
Yeah,
a lot I
we'll have to
don't know
do
about.
we'll have to do an episode just talking about ranked warring weapons, and obviously we definitely want to have you back on here, vaguely to kind of give us your more of an expertise opinion. So that'll definitely be something in the future.
I mean, that sounds awesome. And if you ever have any questions, this goes for anyone listening as well. If you've got any questions about ranked warring weapons, let me know. If I don't know, I know someone who does. So I can get pretty much any questions sorted. Some of them might just take a little bit for me to get back to you.
Fair enough.
Meantime, yeah, I'd love to be back sometime if you guys want to have me. I'm always around, and this has been a ton of fun for me. So thank you for having me over here.
Well, thank you for coming on.
Absolutely, absolutely, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for listening to episode 5. As always, we like to end this with, the ask to join our Patreon. Currently, we have 4 Patreons, and we thank each and every one of you so very much. We know, everybody works hard for their money. So to see us as worthwhile to give your money for it, it's extremely encouraging, and we want to make it worth your while to do so. Speaking of that, the person that sent us a $100 donation on PayPal towards the mic that we've been talking about. Oh man, thank you so much. What can I say? Seriously, I know money is hard to come by, and to give it to this, it really shows what we're doing here is worthwhile. Because we also know that only a very small percentage of people that listen are going to give money towards it. And that's okay. That's how it is for every single podcast. You hear their Patreon list, that's a Patreon list with a lot of listeners. So I get it. You're only really going to get 1% of the people. So that's why we wanted to keep this short and everything, because we're never going to make it seem like you have to give money for this content. And as always, of course, we also continue to appreciate the sponsors of the show. We kind of like the ads on the show are Torn based. I think it really adds a lot to the show. I think it makes it more in line with the theme, especially with Torn and how they don't do outside advertisements on their website. So I kind of it makes it feel like it's more aligned with Torn's value. But of course, real money matters. And so that's why the money that we do get, we like that we're getting it from people that specifically want to give their hard-earned money to help support the show. So again, we really appreciate it, and let's hear from the last sponsors of the show. Nomads Faction Family, recruiting players of all levels and styles of play. Our main branch offers a relaxed environment for established players. Our medical branch is the perfect place for the new and the experienced reviver alike. And for you competitive players hungry for war, our 2.0 branch offers multiple paid ranked wars per month. With over 4 years as a family and a respected name, Nomads Faction Family. Apply now. Vaguely Canadian's Ranked Weapon Emporium, your one-stop shop for ranked weapons at all prices. Today's featured weapon is the powerful Mag 7, currently listed for $675 million. Incendiary ammo, choke, and eviscerate melee can push the damage on the mechana of primary weapons to nearly 140 damage with almost 70 accuracy backing it up. All prices are negotiable and all offers are welcome. Fill out your faction's army with our bulk discounts. Xanax, FHCs, and 30E cans may be included for payment options, and rentals can be discussed at your request. Stop in now and check back often. Find your dream weapon today.